So, hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel talking about the Schlenkerla Brewery and this world famous smoked beer. This one's empty, right? Okay, but I've got another full one in the fridge, and I want to sort of pay tribute to these guys who are absolutely awesome and fantastic making this beer, to the importers that bring in the beer, to the bottle shops that sell the beer, but also to people like Braybrook Brewery that also brew their lager in that traditional German style. I'm really excited about this. This beer that I'm going to talk about now has been reviewed. Like, it's a beer that I didn't really know much about it, and I remembered when I sort of brought it from my local bottle shop, which I've been to Clarendon Park, the Offie, Murray there. I'd seen it somewhere before, and it sort of come to mind that I think Tom Crumbly Beard, he reviewed it, and I just had a quick look, and I've actually watched it, and I've actually seen him review it, and I said I need to pick this up. Well, anyway, I have, and here it is, and I'm going to try and struggle to say the same. It's from, I've got to look at it here on here. It's Schlenkerla Brewery, and yes, it is a Marzen, and it is they call it in Germany a Rauchbier, is it? A Rauchbier, and it is like a very famous brewery for doing the smoked lager. Now, I have looked into it, and I have got a few little notes here, and basically it is look, it's all scribbled everywhere or whatever. But I just want to look into the notes now. I'm actually going to tag a video in here where I've got this information from. It's a 7-minute video. I really suggest you go and watch it. That he actually goes to the brewery and basically talks about the brewery and the way it's done. But anyway, their malting operation. They actually do their malts themselves. So they steep the malts by basically soaking it in water to force it to sort of germinate. And then they let it germinate for about a week, and then they stop the germination, and then they dry it basically by introducing heat to it. But they don't use like gas or oil driven sort of like drying methods that we use now. They dry it, they kiln it over an open fire, and basically over a beech open fire. And now the beech is sourced from local Franconia beech forests, and it has to be. Now they said on this video, I'm sure he said lagered for 3 years, but anyway, it has to dry for 3 years. Now I know all about that. Like if you chop a tree down, you can't just stick it on your log burner. It's got to dry. I think you want it dried. I'm sure it's about 20% moisture content before you can put it in the log burner. So they dry it for 3 years, and then they literally dry the malts over an open beech fire. Now I have actually got another one of those beers, and they're doing it over a different timber fire, but generally it's over beech. And when I went to see Murray the other day and I got this, he showed me another one from this brewery, and basically says they experiment with different types of wood to get different types of flavors, but this is sort of like the original. Now when I done the Braybrook brewery's smoked lager, I had really great comments from a couple of local guys who are close to Braybrook, and they sort of said, obviously the little bottle's quite expensive compared to what you can get from the real thing, Germany, so to speak. And they quoted this, or one of them quoted this, and I thought, how brilliant that I've actually got this beer. Now, this beer was £4.25. Now, in the world of craft beer and such like that, for an imported German world-class beer, I mean, these do the lot. They've got rock cellars. So they've got rock cellars where it's the perfect temperature to lager the beer. And it's lager for 2 months. Now, I know that Braybrook brewery, they do a long lagering. They brew it in a real good, proper, traditional way. Like under the purity sort of law, not under the purity law, but they do it based on that. So that's why I really like Braybrook. And I know that, yes, I'm paying a little bit of a premium for them opposed to the German stuff. But I want to support as well the local breweries that are trying to, not trying, they're doing a great job. They're bringing some of this tradition, and they have a whole lot of respect for this way of brewing, I'm sure, into the UK. So we can actually, and they do a festival as well, so we can actually go to the festival and drink their lagers. But also as well, talking to a friend, he's now, I feel he's becoming a friend, who gives me a lot of information to actually get these lagers, import these German beers to us, the consumer here in the UK. It ain't a case of just ordering a few. In order to get this beer to us, they have to literally order truckloads. Anyway, that's enough said on that. Let's crack this open. Now, I'm a little bit scared about this because now I'm putting it in my Augustina glass that was kindly gifted to me by Chanel at Harbour Stores. So I like to support the local breweries. I like to support the bottle shops. Look at that. That is looking magnificent, isn't it? Now, whoa. Now, the reason I say I'm a little bit scared is because years ago, and I quoted this on my other video, years ago, I had a smoked beer. It was literally awful. I'm not going to lie, it was awful. And I even speak to my friend about it who had the same beer with me, and we both said it was absolutely awful. So my sort of like smoked beer experience wasn't the best. But now we are talking the best of the best. Now, I love that one from Braybrook. That was absolutely fantastic. The smokiness was quite subtle. I don't think this one is intended to be subtle. This is 5.1%, and I can smell it like it's quite smelly. So let's get it. Oh, crikey. Now, holding that up to the light there is exactly what I've heard described before. It's dark, but it's reddish as well. And I'm going to start, I've not got my phone here. I'm seeing a lot of this, shining torches through the beer. So I'm going to start doing that because it gives the true colour of the beer. But you can sort of see just in this light, when I hold it, you can sort of see a redness as the LED lights above me here are shining in. Look, they are on white, but it's sort of showing a redness. So, whoa, now that is smoky. That is smoking. So anyway, what I want to do as well is I try my best I write down the information. I try my best to do a bit of research. And sometimes I mess up. I'll say things wrong. I'll mention the name. But this Schlenkerla beer is basically, the name comes from a guy had an injury, and it's a name for somebody that dangles and wobbles around. And I think he was walking with a stick and his arms were sort of wobbling around. All the information's in the video I'm going to tag in here. And it really is. It's only about a 7-minute video, not like a Speno waffle video. It's really, really, really interesting. Really insight about this brewery. And so, so this basically, the name comes from that, like the wobbly sort of gangling man. And they sort of say that when you've had quite a few of these, a few drinks, we all sort of wobble and gangle as a drunken man. Anyway, this brewery, the first documentation of this brewery was 1405, but that's something to watch in the video. A bit of history about it, but watch that. So, well, what can I say about the nose? It's smoky. It's not. It is big and bold and powerful, but it's not just all smoke. But you know that it's been the malt has been smoked over an open fire. So yes, is this my journey down the smoky beer thing? So let's get into this. Let's dive into this and see what this is all about. Cheers, everybody. Oh, wow. Now that, I must admit, is not as scary as I thought it was. That is quite pleasant. That is. That is very pleasant to drink that. It is seriously set me on fire with the smoke. It's like the smoke has just drifted into my nose and I'm tasting it and it's going all down. It is full on there. But you know what as well? It's crisp and refreshing. That's quite very drinkable. And I'll tell you something else as well. This being the real deal, I'd like to say, like, literally, what a fantastic job that Braybrook did of their smoked beer because that was good as well. Now, this, I've really heard that this is quite like, wow, like overpowering with the smokiness, but I'd say it's really, really nicely. It's nicely balanced. It really I can is. Pick up the sweetness in the malts, and when I've now left it alone in my mouth, it's it has sort of like coated my mouth with like a nice sort of like layer of them sweet sort of malt. So yeah, which you know is brilliant because when I had that smoked beer years ago, I literally just said it was like drinking something burning in here. You know what I mean? It's like, which I hope not, because this is a wooden cabin. Wow. So now I've had a couple of sips. That smokiness is really just said hello, but is now really just like just sitting there in the background. And the funny thing is as well, I did think it's like now I know it's beechwood. I know this is beechwood. Whereas before I was convinced it was oak because, you know, it's really weird because when you burn wood, there's certain woods that you burn that you can really smell, like a cherry or a cedar especially, because that's got its own natural oils in it. And this is why cedar is so a brilliant wood for outside. It has, but you're not really supposed to burn it on an open fire, really, because it is very oily and it can sort of like clog up your chimney quite well. It can make a stickiness in your chimney. Um, but you know, cedar and oak, you know, they're hardwoods and they are, you know, they do smell differently in the manufacturing world. Say the planing as a if you plane them or saw them, the dust is very. I've been working with oak more than I have cedar. However, the smokiness of a timber is very difficult to pick out unless it is of them varieties like a cherry wood, like you say, like I say, or a cedar, or sometimes with a pine if it's got a lot of resin in there or whatever. It's quite sappy and spitty, but generally to actually drink this beer and pick out what it's been roasted, you know, what it's been smoked over, would be very difficult. But now I know it's beech, and I've really like thought about it. It's mm, I can almost sort of like see the beech fire burning away and smell what's that. But I can get like there's like a freshness in it. This for me, for my palate, everybody's palate is different. I so I can get some. There's like there's a bit of freshness out the hops. You don't normally get much. You certainly don't. The hops that are used in these German beers certainly do not give any of the hops that we get that fruitiness or anything like that. They certainly don't. They're more of a like a grassy sort of like spicy maybe. You know, it's more that type of earthy type of sort of taste, freshness. But it really is. I can sort of I'm getting something from the hops here. I'm getting a bit of a freshness from the hops, but I'm also getting some of the sweetness from the malts, and it's all well balanced with this quite palatable smokiness. It's I was actually scared to drink this drink. And you know what? Right, bear with me. I am going to just nip. I'm just going to nip and get a Braybrook smoked lager. And I'm just going to compare it to this because you know what? That's the only way to tell how brilliant Braybrook have done. So this could be like a little bit of um, a collab beer review. Bear with me. I'll be back in a minute. I'm just going to my cellar. It's not a rock cellar, but you know, it's a cellar. You'll hear me going down the stairs. It's dead easy to get into. It's no problem. I searched high and low, and literally, I thought I had one. You know what? I'm going to have to, because I know this is going to be quite available quite. I'm going to have to do an A/B between this and Braybrook's smoked beer because I thought Braybrook's was over an oak fire, but it weren't. It was beech. So I'm getting. This is reminding me of that. So that just shows you how brilliant that beer was. That's in another video. I'll actually put that in the description as well. But yeah, I mean, I know I waffle on and I know I go on about it, but I get very passionate. So like, I really appreciate the German beers, and I'm in quite regular contact, and like say who I say, I regard them as a friend. I've never met them. I've only talked to them from Elite Beers. So they specialise in importing German beers. They're specialist German beer importers to the UK. They supply 300 bars and pubs and around 400 retailers nationwide. They only deal with trade, unfortunately, but yeah. So you can probably bet your bottom dollar that if you're going to your bottle shops and you are getting a beer, that they're probably the ones that have brought it here. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate it because they're obviously not like greedy in their profits, because if they were, we wouldn't be able to buy it from the bottle shop for like this sort of money. This sort of specialist, great, amazing beer being brought into the UK by the truckload in order to keep the prices at a reasonable cost, so that we can go to our bottle shop and buy them at what I think is a reasonable cost for a fantastic beer. So, you know, everybody's got to make a profit along the line. And like, you know, so I really appreciate that they are buying this in by the truckload. They're buying beers in. I think he's told me 35 pallets of beer every Friday. So it goes out to the bottle shops and it sells. We buy this beer. You know, the craft beer these days is getting so expensive, and it's okay if you can afford it. But the German beers are of that sort of affordable level for quality beer, and I think that's why they sell really, really well. Anyway, waffling on. This beer, for me, is being quite lovely and refreshing. It really is like a normal, nice Marzen lager. The smoke is coming across quite strong, so the sweetness or the flavors of the malt are sitting there trying to play into the show, and all I know is you're getting the lovely malty sweetness that is layering my palate beautifully. You're getting a freshness in there. You're getting a nice grounded, a nice grassy earthiness in there as well. Quite dry. It is dry, but it's also refreshing. I didn't think for 1 second I'd drink this beer and it'd be refreshing. It's, oh my word, it's smoked malts. If you dry the malts over normal heating methods in the kiln, you don't get anything. You won't get a gas taste or an oil taste because that's what just drives the heat. But you get the smoke taste. And you know what? I really love that because what a great way of drying malts. I mean, I wouldn't want to drink smoked beer all the time because I like to really taste the sweetness in the malts. But this is a smoky beer, and it's quite smoky forward, but it's also fresh and malty. You can almost like, I think from the malts, yeah, I've sort of thought about it. Even though it's smoky from the wood, there's also like a burnt toast type of smoke in there. So that's probably what the malts are giving, that sort of bready type of toasty, roasty, toasty. It's very roasty. So yeah, so forget about the smoke. The smoke is something that's really just a little bit got into the brain. So forget about that for a minute and just think about, yeah, now I am like getting like, yeah, like a burnt toast. Sort of, that's where the malts are sitting for me in this. Yeah, like a nice roasty, toasty. Yeah, it is a lager. It is nice and drinkable. Right, Speno waffle. Right, that's what all I got to say. And it is absolutely magical. I'm so glad that I've had it. If you search for this beer, you'll find lots and lots of reviews about it. But if this is the first time you've seen this beer because you're following my channel and you're supporting me, then there you go. There's the beer. Go and buy it. It's absolutely amazing. Use the hashtag year of the lager. It really is going to be the year of the lager. Okay, so coming up soon, because I've been a bit slow putting the videos up because I've been really busy, is another smoked beer from these guys, but one over a different wood. Okay, so take care, everybody. Enjoy the beer, and yeah, get on some of this German lager. It's absolutely fantastic. Cheers, everybody. I've been Speno. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. I really want to get to 400 subscribers. But everybody that has subscribed and watched the channel and commented, especially the really good comments that are informative and really make me want to talk back, are fantastic. I really appreciate them comments, because you know what? Just because I'm bringing a beer to you doesn't mean that I'm an expert at all. And I might get a comment from somebody who will say this, that, and the other about the beer and know more about it than I do. And I appreciate that because we're all learning. So thank you so much. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.